Australia will vote on who it wants as its next Prime Minister on May the 3rd, while we're seeing tariff fear sweep some stocks into new bear markets, while gold and silver have punched to brand new record all-time highs, gaining fresh bull legs. My name is Jessica Amir, market strategist here with Mumu. Thanks for tuning in this Friday, March 28. Well, widening tariff trade war, I guess putting a noose around stocks, sending them lower and bond yields higher. And we're seeing market fear also rise overnight. And this is just a day after Trump pledged that 25% tariff on all cars and car components imported into the US will take effect on April 2. Now, the bottom line is this basically highlights that we are now seeing people start to really realize that US tariffs are going to painfully reignite inflation. It's not a very good narrative for the broad stock market, but it is a good narrative for safe havens. Now, if we think and pause about some of the world's biggest car makers, it's really important to note what is going on, because not all car maker should be treated equally. Overnight, we saw General Motors as the worst performer in the S&P 500. That stock fell 7%. Another big performer or big loser in the S&P 500 was Ford. Their shares fell over 3%. Toyota, also the US listed Toyota, that also fell overnight. But basically, it's really important to note that GM is now in a bear market. It's down over 20% from its peak. Ford is down more than a bear market. It's down 31% from its record all-time high. The bottom line is that their profits are expected to fall and their shares are likely to be squeezed lower as a result. But not all car makers are treated equally. And if you are looking at buying the dip potentially into a car maker, you might want to potentially think about the narrative of who might be able to sustain or ride out this wave the best. And I would encourage you to think about profit margins. Who's got the most or thickest profit margins in the business? Insert Ferrari, ticker code RACE, RACE. So Ferrari, their net interest income, one way that we look at profit growth, that's expected to be high double digits, 20% in the year ahead. It's chalk and cheese with Tesla's net interest margins of 8.8% expected. BYD doesn't come close. Their profit margins or net interest earning income is expected to be 5.6%. It basically shows you, in the face of rising costs for these key car makers, and I've just given you the scenario for the EV makers as well, it shows you that Ferrari could come out on top because their profits, I guess you could say, they're the thickest. They can sustain a trim. That's something for you to consider. Where else are trade wars picking up? Well, commodity markets overnight, the US said that they're looking to seek to take control of Ukraine's resources. Trump is also holding firm on setting copper tariffs in place. And this is basically, I guess, taking some wind out of copper's price that has been trading at a brand new record all-time high. And the copper ETF that we've displayed on the screen that tracks some of the world's biggest copper producers, WIRE, W-I-R-E is its ticker. That tracks the world's biggest copper producers. It's up 8% this year. So do keep in mind that all in all, higher commodity prices is something to consider. That's probably going to be something that we might be getting normal with in 2025, but also insert higher vehicle prices globally and in Australia too. What about volatility? Well, the Trump versus world tariff story is really expected to worsen. As we're kind of saying, the D-Day is April 2. Now, the lead up to that date, we're probably going to see market fear rise. And how do we track market fear? Well, one way is to look at Mumu's platform and type in VIX, VIX, at the top right. And that's one way that you can see that fear is rising day to day. So day by day, as market fear rises, it's sending stocks lower. broad stocks, those that are basically tied to economic growth and interest rates. And lest we forget that the share market is forward-looking. So it's focused on where we're going to be in 6 months from now. So we need to consider that until we have all tariffs on the table, markets have got no basis to be valuing stocks at. So until we see that April 2 tariff announcement, that will allow for company earnings estimates to adjust and also traders to react. Now, this narrative is quite bearish for stocks, but it's probably going to ignite further bull gains in commodities, specifically safe havens. What we do know is regardless of what happens on April 2, you're probably going to be seeing higher levels for gold and silver price. And if you don't know what silver producer to look at, have a look at this ETF. This ETF tracks the silver price. It actually physically holds silver bullion in vaults in New York. Now, this ETF that we're displaying on the screen is the ETP MAG. It's the Global X Silver ETF, one of the biggest in the world, and it's up 42% in 1 year. And so silver is doing exceptionally well. The silver price just by itself is up 19% this year. So it's the best performing commodity globally. Gold, in comparison, is the second best performer globally now. The gold price is up 16% and it's at $3,057 an ounce. It's a brand new record all-time high. The bottom line is safe havens, gold and silver are expected to be key winners of the trade war. Bring it back home, we spoke about D-Day for Australia, May 3. That's when we'll be voting on who we want to be our next Prime Minister. The most important generation to this election are millennials and Gen Z, and they'll account for 50% of votes. The focus point will be voting for change, I believe, on energy costs, on how the government plans to bring that down, and also inflation. My generation, without getting too personal, I sit on the cusp of both millennials and Gen Z, and I personally can say that I don't want another measly energy bill rebate. I'll be voting for change. Hopefully we see US grids. What is happening there is most of their grids are powered by nuclear energy. Hopefully see with that rhetoric and thinking come to Australia, knowing full well that we have Microsoft and Amazon getting most of their energy needs directly from companies like Constellation, i.e. that's nuclear power. For all the stocks that you need to focus on and keep an eye on ahead of the election and after the election, head over to Moomoo's platform. We've got the key sectors that you need to be across and key stocks in all the major themes that you need to keep an eye on ahead of the election. We're probably going to see some hot moves here. Stay abreast of everything that you need to know about the election on Moomoo each day. It's great to have your company. I'll see you again for the weekly.